Hello and welcome to Boomerang Beyond Wellness. I'm Angela Fischetti. So today we're going to do a stretch class together, and this one I'm calling Move and Stretch in Your Airplane Seat. Yes, on the airplane, folks. This is important because some of us get super tight, accumulation of fluid in those lower extremities. So this is to help you move in the seat, being respectful of the fellow passengers and get that blood flow going throughout the body. So the accessories we'll be using, at least on land, will be a sticky yoga mat, a standard universal folding chair. I'm also sitting up on a cushion, and an old-fashioned, what we used to call TV table, a snack table, because folks, you're going to use the meal tray as an accessory as well. If you have any chronic health concern whatsoever, I invite you to preview the video before participating. Look for what you can do. And if you're not sure, then I would invite the medical healthcare practitioner who knows your body best to preview the video as well to help you make an informed decision. Now, one thing I do want to point out right from the beginning here is that the yoga mats are typically made out of latex. So if you have a latex allergy, you want to look for non-latex or latex-free. I will be discussing the modifications for the different health concerns during the course of the class. Now, I do want to talk to you about how to sit in a chair. And we're going to distinguish between a regular chair and also an airplane seat. So for some of you, you like to do this. Now, if you have pre-existing knee issues, and the issues have to do with the bending or flexing of the knees, you're putting the knees here into hyperflexion. So what I advise everybody to do is to sit with the ankles slightly forward of the knees. We want to line up ankles to knees, travel up the thighs, all the way up to the high pelvic bone, and this is called the iliac crest. Now, while I'm seated here to the side for you, I'm going to explain why I use a cushion. So it is important that when you sit down in any type of chair, that your hip joint, the acetobulofemoral joint, also known as the coxal joint, is a little bit higher than the knee joint, the tibiofemoral joint. So I always bring a cushion on board a flight, folks. And I'm going to face you here for a couple of other tips about sitting. Place the hands underneath the buttock flesh. This is going to be a self-adjustment. So you pull the flesh straight back, but then wick it out wide toward the shoulders. And then I'm going to rock side to side. And basically, I'm feeling for the ischial tuberosity, and in yoga we call these the sits bones. So you want to be up and forward, and it's also actually kind of great for the gluteals, and if you have any sciatic or piriformis issues, it feels pretty good to do this. Now, something I want to talk about is with the airplane seat, man, these put our necks into forward head posture like this. Well, folks, if you have something called hyperkyphosis, which is a postural deviation, typically a lot of times people have forward head posture as well. I would bring on board a little airplane pillow and support your head so that you're not projecting forward. Just a couple of tips with that. All right, so let's move in to the actual movements. Now, I'm going to lift the shoulders up in a shoulder shrug, and then I want you to just drop them down and then lift them up and let them go. One more like this. Shoulder shrug up and let it drop down. Now, you might not have a lot of room alongside of you, right, in that seat. So you keep your hands palms down or up, whatever feels better for you. And we can continue with shoulder shrugs. Now we're going to do this slowly, depressing the shoulder girdle down. I really like doing a lot of shoulder shrugs throughout the day for tension up in the shoulders. If you're standing a lot for your work, if you're sitting a lot and doing computer work, this is really great to get all that blood flow moving and to help you release the stiffness. A couple more. Long neck, One more. And gently press down. Right now with the hands still on the thighs, I'm going to work some nice big shoulder rolls. I'm playing here with palms up. I like better for my body, palms down. What this is not are elbow pumps. It's up, back, and down. Again, moving the fluid into the tight areas. And now, if you're medicated or not for hypertension, you want to be careful of interlocking the fingers and really squeezing them tightly. So you could place one hand on top of the other for this one. I'm going to interlock and placing the hands behind the head, not the neck. Now I want to caution those of you with TIA, transient ischemic attack, or a stroke, you're going to avoid this hyperextension of the cervical spine of the neck. You're going to do the rest of the movement, but without lifting the chin. So I'm going to draw the elbows toward each other. I am not collapsing and trying to let them touch each other. It's not that. So I'm bringing them toward each other. Inhale, and then exhale. I'm going to lift that chin, open the chest, retract the shoulder blades toward each other. Inhale, back to neutral. Elbows come toward each other. Exhale, they open out. Inhale, take your time. Exhale. So you can break these up throughout the course of your flight. Or, you know, if you get on the plane early enough, you can also do these before you take off. Exhale. I try to keep the breath in and out through the nose. So I'm borrowing, I should say, a little bit from yoga. So any of this work where we're lifting the shoulders up, you want to be careful with pinched nerve at the neck. And one more. Open it out. I'm taking a nice back bend, a nice spine extension, offsetting all that forward flexion from that airplane seat. Draw the belly button in to come back to neutral. Slowly lower the arms. And again, go for the shoulder rolls. So you don't ever want to be sitting next to me on a plane. I never sit still. I'm either moving around like doing this stuff or getting up a lot, pretending to go to the bathroom. Just can't sit still on a plane. All right, again, I'm going to interlock the fingers. The rest of you know that if you can't, just one hand on top of the other. Turn the palms forward. Inhale the arms up. And exhale, lower. So just working on mobility here of the of the glenohumeral joint of the shoulders. And slowly up and down. So mobility is about the joint, folks. Flexibility is about the muscle. So notice the elbows are rounded. They're not straight. I'm not shrugging them up toward the ceiling. It's a long neck. And then you might want to hold the movement and focus now on the muscles. Relax the shoulders down and breathe. This movement could be contraindicated for those of you medicated or not for hypertension, or have rotator cuff muscle issues, particularly holding here overhead. So again, you always want to seek that additional advice. And if you've been advised to do the movements, go right ahead then. Inhale and exhale, slowly lower down. Whew, does that feel good? I'm going to go for some nice big shoulder rolls. Oh, I'm not in reality in an airplane seat, so I'm going to momentarily take advantage of that fact. Big shoulder rolls. And one more. Okay, now I'm going to turn my head to the left. And with my peace fingers, I'm going to place the left fingers on top of that right shoulder, and I'm going to push that shoulder back. So I'm going to turn that right palm up to help encourage that shoulders to stay back and down. So keeping the head turned, and breathe. Now you want to be careful here if you have vertigo. This may not be the best thing to do on board a flight. And then inhale, head center, lower the arm down on the exhale. Inhale, exhale, turn the head, peace fingers, top of the opposite shoulder, left palm up, pushing back and down. Some people will do this. Don't let that happen. Just gently turn the head. Eye gaze lifted. Opposite shoulder back and down. Belly button in. And then inhale the head forward, exhale, lower the arm down, take some nice big shoulder rolls. All right, now I'm gonna hold my hands up like so, and I'm gonna stretch my fingers wide apart. So this is finger adduction, going away from the midline. And then when I close the fingers in toward each other, that's finger abduction, abduction. So stretch out wide, and then back in. So this is wonderful for the wrist and the wrists, I should say, and the forearms. And there'll be a couple of movements coming up that have to do with basically making circles with your wrists. That would be contraindicated for those of you with carpal tunnel syndrome. So I would advise you to return to this movement. Now, another way you can do it is turn the palms up and stretch the fingers wide. So with the palms up, we are in a supine position, face up, palm or side of the hand. Still stretching out wide and drawing them together. This could be quite good for those of you with Dupuytren's contracture. Also, perhaps with arthritis of the hands and fingers, trigger finger. And then relax it in. I'm just gonna flap the wrists, shake them out. Now, here's where I'm going to take the wrist circles. It's a soft fist, and just rotating the wrists. See, as soon as I go here, this is wrist extension, where the wrists are dropping down. That would be contraindicated for carpal tunnel syndrome. And reverse direction. Make sure you don't collapse down in your seat. Now, interlocking the fingers, just want to put my glasses back on. Interlocking the fingers, but not squeezing them tight. I'm going to take sideways number 8. Now be careful, I see a lot of people doing all this kind of stuff, but they're not really moving those wrists. So this is a movement I did a lot of post when I had broken my wrist a couple of years ago. So when I was in rehab and physical therapy, I was doing a lot of this, but then I started to speed it up, and I really liked that feeling. So you can go as slow as you need to go, and you can reverse it as well. And then I'm going to shake it out. Also contraindicated, though, for carpal tunnel syndrome. All right, now here we go. I'm going to grab my faux meal tray. And I'm bringing this into play here because for those of you who have been advised not to forward flex the spine, not to bend forward, you can pull down the meal tray and do a hamstring stretch, but just focusing on keeping yourself lifted so you're lengthened and sitting tall. So I'm going to bring one foot out in front. You can see the sole of that sneaker, right? The white. And my foot is dorsiflexed. Plantar flexed is when you're pointing down. Dorsiflexed is when the foot is toward the face. So let's place the hands on the meal tray, and you're going to push down, and you're going to just stay here to help you lengthen the back of the leg and the thigh. And breathe in and out through the nose. Now, for those of you who don't have the spine flexion issues, and those people would include osteoporosis of the spine and the postural deviation hyperkyphosis, the hunched one. Those of you who don't have that issue, well, then you can place your forearms and hands on the meal tray and lean into a bit. Now I'm going to pull that right side buttock flesh back and out, and I actually get a deeper stretch when I do this. I like the head up, not drop down, because I'd like the cervical spine of the neck to be in the same natural position as the lumbar spine of the low back, and that is a natural lordotic curve. Holding here, and it's also better for those of you medicated or not for hypertension, have vertigo or GERD, to keep the chin up. So you hold your stretches for a minimum of 20 to 30 seconds, especially when you're on a flight. You have all the time in the world. And then we'll slowly come up. Now, for those of us who don't have the flexion issues, set aside the faux tray. I'm going to pull the left side buttock flesh back and out and bring that left leg out. Right leg, well, we have the ankle lined up with the knee with the inside of the high pelvic bone, the iliac crest. Fingertips, and now I keep the chin up. No rounding of the spine. Now, of course, you have the passenger in front of you, so you can only go just so far, right? You can even put your fingers lightly on the back of the seat. Remember, you don't want to disturb them. Breath is in and out through the nose, just going for that nice hamstring stretch. And breathing. Man, I feel this. And then inhale, slowly come up. Exhale, hold. Let's just take a couple of shoulder rolls again. Now, for those of you who have osteoporosis of the hip or have had a hip replacement, this next movement is generally considered contraindicated for you. If you've been told it's okay by your medical practitioner, be my guest. So it's the number 4 stretch. It's also known as seated pigeon. Ankle across the opposite thigh, foot is dorsiflexed, line up ankle, knee, hip joint with the foot that's on the floor. So you can just stay upright here, hands gently resting on the fleshy part of your inner thigh. Now, if you want to go deeper here, we're getting into the gluteal, into the lateral rotators, particularly the largest of them, the piriformis muscle. If you want to go deeper, bend the elbow and gently push down. Now, folks, do not push on your inner patella, the inside of the medial side, I should say, of the patella, the kneecap, because guess what? You can malalign that kneecap by pushing down into it. We don't want to do that. So you push into that fleshy part, keep the chest up. We are in a forward flexion, so it may not be appropriate for those of you with back spine issues for forward flexion, but you can stay upright with this. You'll still get a stretch. And then if you want to go deeper, you can just kind of dangle your forearms over the shin. Oh, man. And by the way, you might get a spine adjustment, which my spine is really nicely adjusting right now. Again, not rounding the back. And then slowly coming up to support the knee. Place your hand on the outside of it to gently lower it down. And then we're going to take it to the other side. Notice I'm always lifting from underneath the knee. I want to protect that kneecap as much as possible, especially with the aging process, right? So you can stay right here. Let's see, am I in the right line? So ankle to knee to inside of the high pelvic bone. You can gently press down with your hands for those of you with the spine flexion issues. And breathe. Or bend the left elbow, gently press into that inner thigh flesh. Whew, this side's tighter on me today, so I feel it. It's okay, so good. Not a complaint. Happy to do it. And then maybe hanging the forearms over the shin. Are you breathing? All of this is perfectly doable in the plane, but another precautionary measure, by the way, you keep that seatbelt on, folks. Definitely keep it on the whole time. And breathe. Okay, to come out of it, support the outside of the knee, gently lower down. Now, I'm going to turn to the side. Obviously, you can't do this on the plane. However, I don't know about you, but whenever I fly, my legs, now anatomically, the legs are from below the knee down to the top of the ankle. My legs blow up, and I mean my toes, my feet, my ankles, calves, the whole bit blow up. So what is that? It's an accumulation of fluid in the lower extremities, and it's typically called edema. And the only way to get that out of there is to move, you know, and you're on a plane. So here we go. I'm going to slide the feet a little closer toward me than I normally would when I sit in a chair. And I'm going to do heel raises. So I'm going to lift way up onto the balls of my feet and then back down. So here's that pumping action to help move the fluid out. Be careful here if you have Morton's neuroma or arthritic feet, also with bunions or hammer toes. May not be appropriate for you, but maybe it is. Just want to caution you though. Taking my time, working the calf muscles, gastrocnemius, soleus, and plantaris. A couple more. And down. Now, I want to work the opposing side. So our shins rarely get any love, but folks, as we age, for some of us, we shuffle. And the shuffling oftentimes comes from tight peroneal muscles, and they're actually now called the fibularis longus and brevis. They used to be the peroneal muscles. And also in the front here, all of this gets tight and restricted. So I'm going to just bring my feet a little more forward. I would still have them further out in front when I'm sitting, but we're working here. So I'm going to do what I call toe taps. Is it just tapping the toes? No. I'm lifting up to the arches of the feet. Heels are down. I'm going pretty fast here. I'm not counting. I don't care the count. I'm going to go until I can't take it any longer. But this will help you also with your balance and help your knees. Keep tapping. And your body is going to want to start to do this. Don't let that happen. But I'm getting near the end, and here it is. So, but it feels great. You get this kind of rush of blood. Now, turning forward here. The next movement, again, caution for TIA stroke, because I will be doing a cervical spine hyperextension. You don't want to do that part of the movement, but you'll get the back spine extension, which is really great. Okay, placing the hands on the thighs. Inhale, I slide the hands up toward the top of the thighs, open up the chest, I draw the shoulder blades toward each other, lift the chin toward the sky. So this is a spine extension. In yoga, we call it a seated cow. Now on the exhale, we're going to come into flexion, but we're only going to come to neutral for everybody, even if you're capable of continuing into flexion. I wouldn't do it because that plane seat is encouraging forward flexion of the spine. So we want to offset it. Inhale, spine extension. Exhale, it is flexion by just coming to neutral. It's not hyperflexion. And inhale into extension. Exhale to neutral. And inhale, notice the gliding of the hands. Exhale, I just momentarily hook the hands over the knees, but I'm not leaning forward. I also have unusually long arms, folks, so I can do that. Let's do one more. And exhale. Now the next movement will be an abdominal twist, a spinal twist. That could be contraindicated for those of you with osteoporosis of the spine. So if you've been told to keep it a small twist, well, it's going to be a small twist because, you know, you're on a plane. However, if you've been told not to do a spine twist at all, please do not do this movement. Maybe you can return to the upright hamstring stretch. So for everybody, you can place your hands, one hand to the outside of the opposite thigh and then onto the outside of the hip. But because I'm not on a plane, I'm going to take advantage a little bit and bring my hand behind me. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, belly button in, please. Turn and twist. Now inhale, turn the head, look over the opposite shoulder, not for vertigo though, please. Exhale, turn the head, look again. Inhale, over the opposite. Exhale, I'm going to turn and look over the right. Inhale, turn and look over the left. Exhale, one more time, look over the right. Inhale, head center. Exhale, torso, arm back to center. Folks, people, when they fly, sometimes get constipated. Twisting postures are great to do on a plane. So taking a hold of the outside of the thigh and hip, or if you want to play a little bit and grabbing the back of your chair. Inhale, lengthen spine. Exhale, turn and look over the left shoulder. Inhale, look to the left, to the right. Exhale to the left. Let's do another one. Inhale to the right. Exhale to the left. Also very important to drink a lot of water for constipation if you get that from flying. And now let's take some nice big closing shoulder rolls. And that's what we have for you today, folks, here on Boomer and Beyond Wellness. Please subscribe, share the video, perhaps give it a kind comment, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to be updated on the new content. And bon voyage. Thank you all.